Hi, everyone. If you're a first time listener, welcome to the podcast. And if you are coming back for this week's episode, thank you for always tuning in. Perfect attendance ka na. So, guys, get some snacks, grab your coffee, and let's start this week's episode. So, hi everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Kristine's Voice, the podcast. And as you can see, we are in a different corner of my room with our newest haul from Lazada. So, I got a new webcam as part of our upgrade. So, I keep telling you, sabi ko sa inyo last week, there's always time for you to get upgrades. And I only got this webcam because it's sale. So, nag-Lazada sale sila last week. I think the July 15th. If you were following the sale. So, yeah, I got this webcam and I'm just so happy about it because the quality is just so good. Sobrang ganda. I can show you how different it is from the other webcam or the built-in webcam. Here, let me transfer. See? Look awful. Anyway, we're going back to the new webcam. Anyway, so that's it. I'm just so happy I was able to get some of the upgrades. I was I don't know, was hesitating to buy a few items, but I'm also trying to maximize the sale. Kasi if I buy it on a regular price, I know it'll be more expensive. Plus, I'm also I don't know. I also wanted to know if it can be shipped now kasi may feeling ako na there would be delays if I order it some other time. So, sayang yung sale. So, that's my primary purpose. Anyway, um, this episode is actually just going to be short lang. And this is actually a response to one of our listeners, Ferina Santos. So if you're listening, hi Ferina, I am officially responding to your feedback or your query last this week, just a few days ago. And actually, Ferina actually messaged me last month pa. So we have been in on and off kind of minimal, very minimal exchange on Instagram. And the last time she asked me about what kind of equipment can I suggest or can I recommend. That is why I made that episode last week for podcast beginners. And Ferina is also a new podcaster. Congratulations. Guys, if you would want to follow her also and check her content, it's the Millennial Mermaid. Very cool. Millennial Mermaid, Ferina Santos. And this time around, she sent me a voice message early this week. And again, thank you, Ferina. I'm very surprised that someone sends voice messages. Actually, I got a voice message before, but it's not often that I get those. It's really good to hear people's voice, it gives you kind of a different experience, and without meeting this person you slowly be familiar with their voice and who they are, hopefully as a person. Yeah, anyway, this time around Farina asked me about tips when you are going to speak in front of the microphone, or in our case, the webcam. Actually, it's a very funny kind of process because you are on your own space, you are in your own world, and you just start talking. Yeah, but the main point that Farina wants us to understand is that she just recently managed to control her excitement. So I told her it's normal if you are just starting your podcast and if you are watching this video or listening to this episode, it's normal to be excited. I get this too. I always tend to talk too much, talk too fast, and often go off topic altogether whenever I feel so excited and just also nervous at the same time. And It's normal. You can control it, of course. There's always a way to manage your excitement and your nervousness. What's important is that you make measures or take measures for you to be able to control how you would be in front of the microphone, especially if you have guest nights. It's not just the microphone that you are going to, interact with. And so I'm just going to give you a little tip here and there. So I still think I'm not the right person for this, but I can always share to you w- the things that I experienced. And yeah, basically what I can share to you is what I experienced and how I manage to, go about every episode of this podcast. So my first tip is, yun, if you get nervous, that's fine. You just have to try to calm yourself down. You can do this by maybe taking a few deep breaths. And yeah, pati ako humihinga. Yeah, a few deep breaths. And if you have water with you, just take some water and really try to focus on this situation at the moment where you are trying to produce content, and or maybe if you're interviewing someone, so you really have to be in that state of mind. And the second is, if you are the kind of podcaster that creates scripts for your episode, I salute you. Because I find it very time consuming. I did try doing this for a few episodes back, but I cannot just read off a script. I find that my voice becomes, I don't know, monotonous, and I don't really feel like I'm making kwento. So, what I did with the script, kasi sayang naman, is I tried to read it but also improvise along the way, add some ad libs, adjust the delivery. Yeah, but the script, if you are making a script, that is very helpful because it will help you stay on topic. That's one advantage. And if you are, you know, limiting yourself into a specific time period, the script would be your ultimate guide. Yeah. And apart from that, the script is something that you can eventually use when you are using post production for podcasts. When you want to add transcription or maybe captions or maybe script, you know, subs in your podcast episode. So this is a very good idea actually, because right now I'm not really into the script thing, but I think I should try to develop at least a few tips or things from the script writing and stuff. But this is why I am not able to put any transcription or upload any, you know, word document of the content of my episodes. So if you can cross that off your list immediately, that would help you a lot, and you can use that for so many things. So yeah, I think I should do that too. Yeah, but if you are like me that really don't go well with the script as of the moment, I suggest you at least make an outline. This is important because, like, if you're like me, when you get nervous and you tend to talk a lot, the tendency is you get off topic altogether. And if you have a guest, that's embarrassing. It can be embarrassing. Yeah, but yeah, sayang yung oras. Minsan, like, dead air. You want to eliminate as much dead air as possible. But if it's inevitable, then so be it, diba? But yeah, the outline will help you at least um know how your episode would go. And apart from that, the outline is very important when you are interviewing people, or maybe if you have guests on your episode. I use to create extensive outlines whenever I have guests on the show. And from my experience, it's all, I mean, it happened for all episodes wherein I had guests. I had outlines for everyone. And my friends from episode 9 would actually, I think they weren't laughing at me, but malapit na. They were trying to sneak a peek into my notebook wherein I have all of the questions that I had for them. And that episode was about, being a young professional, or your life or experience as a young professional. Please check that out. But I remember making an outline, extensive outline for that, because I want to make sure that the questions that I will be asking will be um, answered in a way that is exhaustive. And the way to do this is to create questions and even follow up questions that I think I should ask my guests, in this case, my friends. And as a listener, as a listener myself, yan na, nabubulol na ka. Yeah, normal lang yan. But as a listener yourself, you also have questions in mind, and I am putting myself in the point of view of the listener. If I am listening to this episode, ano yung mga tanong na gusto kong itanong dun sa guest niya? So, before this episode even gets to you, I'm already processing it in my head how I want it to go. So, this is also very important. So, for those who are into podcasting or planning to do this is very important as well. And yeah, at least an outline would be nice. And in my case, the outline or the questions for that segment actually is laid out in a way that would ensure a smooth transition between one question to another until such a time that the episode ends. So that's how I make at least the outlines. And yeah, it's important, if you don't do the scripts, at least do an outline how you want the episode to generally go. Right. So the next thing is, as content creators, I know some of you out there may be already YouTubers, vloggers, bloggers, is in the blog type, and the WordPress kind of blog, written blog, or are just planning in the future. Um, it's important that you plan or plot ahead the kind of content you would want to put out. Don't be like me. Ako na naman. Don't be like me kasi I also have my own outline. I plan it ahead of time. Don't get me wrong, I also do this. But your plans would change. So it's important that you keep updating your plans and you keep plotting your content, if it's per week, if it's twice a week, if it's once a month, whatever. But you have to plot it so that you can prepare for it. And apart from this plotting or planning would also help you in scheduling your guests if you would have people on your show. And it's also important to plan ahead to be able to, do other things in your life. Because I know, as podcasters, and as maybe you are into content creating, blogging, YouTubing, it's not always this that we do. We also have other things in our lives. So for you to be able to do the other things also important for you in your life, you have to be able to plan ahead for your, side hustle kind of thing. So yun, suggestion ko rin yun for you if you are planning. And what other suggestion or tips? Ah, in terms of physically tackling your episode, as I said, you have to drink your water to calm yourself down and really be in the moment where you are interviewing or recording your own episode, the other thing is you have to sleep. I can't believe I'm saying this, but you have to sleep. Most of you might be millennials or Gen Zs, but yeah, our generation, we don't really get to sleep a lot. A lot of things go through our minds every second. So it's important for you to get enough sleep so that your mind would be able to process or analyze things once you are already making your episode, and also for your well-being. Because if you don't get sleep or enough sleep, and there would be moments when your brain would be lagging in front of your guest, nakakahiya. Oh well, maybe your guest is a friend, but if you are dealing with you know high profile, or maybe people, respective people in their different fields, although everyone naman is to be respected, but still you have to have that presence of mind and be able to get in the conversation and at least show that you prepared. You know what I mean? You don't want your guests to feel that you did not prepare yourself and the show for them. So you have to do whatever preparation you can. That means you rest, you get enough sleep, you do your outline, you do your script, you inform them ahead of time, whatever you need to inform them ahead of time. So that's important, I think. And what other thing? I'm new to the Zoom episodes, and what I realized this past 3 weeks is that um, I don't have a say in the equipment of the person that I will be interviewing. So that's one. So, but it's a good tip to ask your guest if what kind of equipment they have, or what environment that they'll be in, and just clarify some things. But most of the time naman, Zoom works well even with a simple microphone headset. So I think that's covered. But if you are very nitpicky with the audio quality, you have to talk it out with your guests. Yeah, but so far the simplest setup works so far. Yeah. Another thing is you have to be sure that when you're recording, your environment is conducive to the activity. Like, it has to be quiet. You don't want to be distracted and keep on stopping or marking, flagging down your audio at some points wherein you would cut later on whenever someone or the dog barks, or someone um opens and closes doors or cabinets or whatever. So you really have to be in an environment wherein you can record in peace. And for me, I have a very difficult time with this because my place of residence is a little noisy, especially during the day. So I'm recording usually at night, as I said. And I am trying to remedy the situation by getting a sound box kind of thing wherein I can put my microphone inside and just minimize the noise. I'll let you know how that works. But that's important, lalo na kung may guest ka. Before all the new normal happened, um, if you have guests on your show and you are situated in an area for recording na maingay, it's just very distracting for the person you will be interviewing or you will be asking and guesting, because once outside noise comes in your recording, and the person that you are talking to is explaining something very important, you cannot ask them to repeat that. You cannot do that. It's chaotic. So Either you find a way to edit that part wherein the interviewee or the guest is speaking and the noise is also happening, or just scrap it altogether, or just use it kahit na maingay siya. So, important yon. Yeah. Mata, so far apat na, no? Sorry, wala kasing script. Yeah, but that's four things. Yeah, the fifth one that I might suggest about the guest is you have to inform your guests ahead of time about important things you want them to take note of. Like maybe they don't want to there is information that they don't want out. You have that kasi may maraming tao that are very cautious about their privacy. So you really have to ask them ahead of time if they want to be on video, if they want some information cut, if the questions are okay with them, so you can send this ahead of time to your guest, or if the topic itself is something that they want to talk about even. So there has to be understanding between you and your guests about this thing that you're going to do, this episode. So since we're in the new normal thing and the Zoom is what I used recently, I always ask my guests first that I'm recording this. Is that okay? So just simple things. You also do this when you're researching in a way. You have to ask your respondent first if they are willing to, you know, be recorded, or if they give permission for you to use their name or their information. It's just basic courtesy for the other person, and it also applies to us. There has to be that. And I always tell this to my guests, even way before, that I genuinely value them as people, and I don't want them to be affected negatively when this certain episode comes out. And that's important for me because I am genuinely interested in what my guests would have to say. And I invited them because I am interested to hear their stories. And it's really my curiosity that, urges me to make them come and join the podcast. But at the same time, it is my responsibility to not affect them negatively. Kasi this is just one episode. Isang episode lang yung guest nila. And I want this episode to be um at least, meaningful to what they do. 'Di ba? May mga ganong factors kasi. And we really want to be, of course, this means that we inform them ahead of time about the topic, the questions, if possible. And but at the same time also, we have to lean towards being honest. Be the most honest that you can be. And this means that um you avoid um in post editing, kasi mamaya meron ka palang topic, you talked about this topic, but when you go to post production and editing, meron kang tinanggal or inumit, or you didn't tell the truth. So it has that has to be the underlying factor. And that is also one of my principles. You can edit, but you have to be truthful. And the same goes with the other things that you do in life. Be as honest as possible. So yeah, I hope as content creators, not just not just me, but everyone who is listening to this, that we practice this honesty in what we do. We don't want to trick people in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. And of course, na-mention ko na siya, if you are inviting guests, I hope you invite them for the reason that you are genuinely interested in what they do. Not just for you to gain additional listeners or gain more views, because you are collaborating. You are collaborating. And in a collaboration, it has to be two-way, not just you benefiting and, the other person suffering. So it has to be mutual. And please, 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 just basic courtesy to each other, just with the other person. Thank them, acknowledge them, and be genuinely interested in them. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so far, kasi my friends are the ones that are guesting, and I'm really curious about what they do now. What are they up to because of the new normal? Yeah, how I wish I can, yeah, just have a lot more people and have them share their stories. But we'll have that for next time. Yeah. So there. Yeah, Farina, that's quite a lot of different tips. But yeah, let me try to summarize it. So the first thing is have water, calm down, try to be in that moment with your microphone and think about your audience of sorts, and then do the script or the outline, rest, sleep, and then, of course, practice your basic courtesy for your guests. Be in a conducive, quiet place to record, and ask your guest if they're comfortable with the recording process, and of course, if there are things that they don't want to be shared, if you can omit. So I also make it a point myself, to send the final output to my guests before it gets released to the different platforms. This is just to make sure that they are comfortable with the entire thing. Kasi knowing myself, I sometimes add yung sa dulo parang post script or additional summaries or general comments at the end, just so they are prepared in a way. So there you go. Yeah, before I end this, I also have to put it here. Another suggestion, if you are also plotting, but you're plotting your episodes, what you can do also is to plan your social media post or your um PR in a way, or promotions for your episode. So I don't so before I use different apps for this, but I don't usually have a lot of time to plan ahead the post. So what I do is just outline in my mind or take a piece of paper or on my phone, take a note, just plan what are some of the things that I can share this week, because some of these outputs need to be created beforehand. Like I also have this episode highlights wherein I use this site called Wave before, but now I'm so proud of myself. I asked my brother to teach me how to use Adobe After Effects so that I can make my own highlights. So all of the highlights from this week are made by me. And I'm excited about that because I'm finally, making progress in terms of video. Very minimal progress. Yeah, but it works. And I don't have to pay that much anymore for Wave. So we'll talk about it some other time. But yeah, you have to plan ahead how you would promote your episode. I know not all of us will have a lot of listeners agad-agad unless you have already a following, and we have to build our audience. And what's good about this is as you build your audience, you are also gaining friends, loyal listeners. So in my case, that's what I have at the moment. As I mentioned before, I don't have a lot of listeners, just a very few, but I trust and believe that this very few are already very loyal listeners. And that's how I want it to be. And every listener counts. I keep telling you this. Every listener counts. So just one person listening is already very heartwarming. And as we slowly build our audience, you also have to get more content out there. So it's good if you can plan ahead and spread it out in a week or how many days, how long you want to promote your episode. So there. I think I've said what I wanted to say, or most of it at least. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. That's it for me. Ferina, I hope you found that very exhaustive, though not hindi pa yan exhaustive kasi I'm just trying to think of different things. Yeah, but I hope that helps. And for other podcasters or, content creators out there, I hope this information is, useful for you. If you have other suggestions for me that I have not included here, and I'm still very open. I'm very open to your suggestions. I am not an expert in this. I'm also just doing my best every day. Every single episode. It's just hard work. Mahirap kaya. Anyway, I don't want to rant. What I do want to do pala guys is to remind you, I added bonus episodes last night wherein I just read the reminders from the Department of Health and the World Health Organization about how you can protect yourself and others from COVID-19. And I am very serious about this because the numbers in the Philippines has now reached 76,444 today, which is July 25 if I'm yeah, that's a number for today. And this is just so much. We are adding 1,000, 2,000 cases per day. And I don't want to think negatively so much, but it gets to you. So I am sending those reminders for you. Please check out those bonus episodes. Again, wash your hands thoroughly and wear your mask if you're going outside. Stay at home. Stay at home, please, guys. If there's nothing important for you to do outside, if you're not getting your essentials, if you're not going to work, if you are just, planning to go to the mall and window shop, please, wag na. Wala namang maganda ngayon dahil sarado masyado. Sarado lahat, halos, except for food. Yeah, if you're not doing something important outside, please just stay at home. Also remind your family and friends to stay at home. And if they do feel symptoms or any kind of like sama ng katawan or just feeling feverish of sorts and other symptoms included in the early symptoms of COVID-19, ask them to self-isolate agad-agad. Agad-agad, please. Be strict in this and just, you know, s- observe how you feel. And if you think this requires medical attention, then do it. Tawag kayo sa hospital to check if they can accommodate you where you can go. It's very important for us to have this at home in each and every single one of our houses or households. We practice whatever we can to avoid getting COVID-19. And of course, physical distancing. Physical distancing. Yeah, I'm already getting consumed by it. So please check out those bonus episodes. First one is English by World Health Organization. The second one is Filipino by the Department of Health. So I did that because I wanted to practice reading last night. I just want to speak and read something. Usually reading is something I normally do to practice practice. And yeah, I wanted to do some reading last night. And what better way to practice reading and turn it into something meaningful is to do a recording for you guys. So I did that, and I hope I don't sound too Spotify feeling Spotify. Yeah, but I am just reading. I just want to practice reading. I hope you find it helpful. Share it with your family and friends. And again, please stay safe, stay at home, stay sane, listen to the podcast, watch your videos, learn a new language, say hi and hello, keep updated with your friends and family. So yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you. Please keep safe. Bye.